Scenario number 2. This scenario, we are discussing the difference or the different worldview, which is ego-based, the illusion of separation, that we are somehow here and there's something out there that is completely devoid of nature itself and us, and therefore it's sort of like an adversary or something that we have to work hard to appease in whatever form or way that we do. And also that in this illusory form that has convinced our 5 senses that there's nothing outside of it, or there's no higher level of awareness other than what we think is the perimeters of knowing or knowledge itself. And therefore we think knowledge also is the ultimate form of whatever that is important in terms of our conscious awareness. And so these limitations that exist in this third dimensional reality are obviously purposefully and beautifully orchestrated by our egos, because also our ego, in us being asleep consciously, the ego has a stake in that, because once we awaken to question, to understand ourselves, or to understand that we can have a higher, or we can access a higher level of awareness beyond our ego-based worldview or limitations there too, the ego stops having power over us. The illusory form or the external projection of an enemy, of an adversary out there, loses power, because we understand now that the ego is the adversary. As the ego in the Bible is taught or said by Deepak Chopra, that it is the manifestation of the devil. So in terms of religion, ego manifests as the devil, and therefore it has convinced us that the devil is out there so that it can itself self-preserve, for self-preservation, that we won't in any way, shape or form think or even begin to accuse or to see it as the adversary, because every thing that has to do with adversary and enemy is already externally projected. It's someone else, it's something else, and not us, or what's within us, or the choices that we always have to make between these seemingly dualistic energies that exist within us. These two wolves that we are choosing each and every moment to feed, good and bad, all these dualistic energies. And therefore, in this third dimensional reality, everything that is about it has convinced us that that's it. There's nothing else. And therefore, whatever that is said by churches, religion, politics, politicians, banks, money, everything, any form of or tool that we are using to interact or to facilitate this life, we take it as truth, that this is it, that there is no higher level of awareness of it or whatever. And therefore, when they say there's hell out there as a geographical location, which I'm not saying there isn't. So if they say there is one, we take that literally, and we say, okay, for the damned soul that are obviously engaged in bad things, sinister, treacherous, nefarious ways here on this earth, are going to go there for their punishment. And therefore, that has nothing to do with principles that which exist already within us. It's just a physicality, consequence of physical nature or physicality that exists here, and also the opposite, heaven. And again, I'm not saying these locations or phenomena or principles don't exist physically speaking. I'm not saying that. So once we say those things, then we sort of give power to these concepts. And once we give power to these concepts, we lose the power that we have in the present moment, because that's all there is. We don't have tomorrow or yesterday. We only have now, and that's it. And once we lose this power in the present moment, we end up being in this loop mentally, always worried about something that is not going to happen and feeling guilty of what has happened. And therefore, not living in the present moment, not being grounded, not being aware of self and what the self can do for itself and others. And so then there's this always constant tension and also fight with one another, because you already, as an external projection from my ego, your ego, already thinking we are adversaries. Therefore, we don't want to deal with what's within us, because what's within us, it's already something that we blame from the outside. I'm not saying environment does not have an influence over us. It does.